Days for Girls was started in 2008 by Celeste Mergens when she went to an orphanage where she was serving in a ministry capacity.
I had never thought to ask the question of how do people manage their periods other than what I was familiar with. I woke up in the middle of the night with a question going through my mind. Have you asked what the girls are doing for feminine hygiene? I literally went ran to the computer to ask and got an unexpected immediate answer. And all the answer was nothing.
She found out that many of them were just sitting in their rooms and waiting for it to pass. And she couldn't fathom that that was okay. And she was right. So these are some of the girls at the orphanage.
They would sit on pieces of cardboard for days. No way to care for their personal needs, certainly no way to go to class. And I wanted to help change that.
She started Days for Girls with the intent to provide those girls with a menstrual health solution that would manage their periods and make sure periods were never a problem. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Christina Pittman. I am the team leader for Days for Girls Rockford South. We started in 2019 at my home, actually, using the kitchen and expanding into the living room with folding tables and chairs. But now we have 2 churches that have partnered with us and not only provide us with free space, but also bring a lot of volunteers. In these other countries, they're literally afraid of women and girls when they're on their periods. So they are moved out of the house into usually what's called a chowpatty hut. And this hut is usually open to the air, and we're not talking about warm climates all the time. These are some cold climates as well, where women and girls have suffered from burns, from fires they've tried to start to keep themselves warm, and they've died from snake bites because they're not protected in any way in these little huts.
I got a call from an amazing Days for Girls leader in Bomet County, Kenya. And Anita had just learned that a girl in their community had been period shamed. She also didn't want to stand up. Her teacher pushed her out of her seat, saw the stain, called her dirty, and took her outside to go see if she could find disposable pads. There were none. And this young girl had already ran home. Her mom told her to get a jerry can of water and lower it with a rope into the river and to clean herself up and get back to class. And instead, they found her hanging from a tree.
In many communities, we're working to help break the stigma and shame of menstruation and help the community to understand that this isn't something that's dirty. This is something that is very normal, very natural, and something that brings life to communities, literally.
Without periods, there would be no people, and there is no shame here. It's a basic biological, amazing function.
Days for Girls International works to solve the menstrual health inequity problem in 4 different ways. There are teams like mine all over the world that create the washable health solution, and that washable kit is designed to last 3 to 5 years and provides them with everything they need to care for the kit and themselves throughout their period. We call them kit creation days. They're building our community by bringing women and men together to have fun and do something really great for another community. We need to set up another table in order for them to go to school and go to work, and again, decrease that poverty level in the communities. And we invite everyone to come, regardless of your previous experience. We show you step by step how to create the kits and then pin them, and then we'll just use them as much as we can. Does that make sense?
You don't have to sew to be a part of it.
We don't need people at every machine. In fact, I need people that are willing to mark bags, that are willing to glue on labels. It's an assembly line style, so no one person has to do the whole thing. At Kit Creation Day, you literally come and can do one step over and over again until you feel comfortable. We actually have a few individuals that work with us that are legally blind.
I do a lot of the pinning that's involved. Everybody who comes is involved in all different facets, counting materials, doing sewing, so it just depends on what the person wants to do.
As we're creating our kits, it's really important that our kits last.
So you really do want to have quality products.
Everything we do is very specific and tries to make sure that all of those girls are really well taken care of. Gold standard means all of our kits last 3 to 5 years and are made to the highest quality that we possibly can. There is a pile of bags that need serged all the way around right there. The second thing they do is that they provide the same type of structure where women and girls and men are making the kits in certain countries, and those are called enterprises. The enterprises employ men and women in these countries where it's often difficult to get a job that earns a living wage, which does two things. It employs people and it provides the washable health solution. So this is the Days for Girls kit. It includes this drawstring bag. In many countries, having relations with a woman when she's on her period is very frowned upon. So they carry these bags all the time because they don't want the boys to bother them. So this becomes a source of protection for the girls. And the kits are packed all the same way. So every girl feels like they're getting all the product. Inside the kit, we have a waterproof pouch, and it's meant to carry anything wet or soiled back home to be washed, and can also be used as a little mini washing machine. With very little water and very little soap, they can actually get their products clean. This is an important part of the kit because it helps to maintain cleanliness. We also include a washcloth and a bar of soap. Also in the kit, we have 2 pair of underwear. In many countries, they don't have underwear. So we have to include underwear in order for it to work with our kit. So this is the shield, and it has snaps to go around the underwear. And on the inside, there's a waterproof layer. And the liner pops into the pockets right here, and the liner is designed very uniquely. It's actually meant to look more like a washcloth when it's hanging outside in the sun to dry. It actually has 6 layers of absorbency in the middle. They can layer up to 3 of these in a shield at one time. They can get 18 layers of flannel on a heavy flow day. One of the shields comes like this, so you can see that it's really easy to just like snap it together.
The kids give back dignity and opportunities to use your days.
In many countries, disposables aren't an option because there's no trash. So having a washable solution is really important, and those countries have recognized that and now have standards for the washable kit. 9 this direction. 15 and 15. They want to make sure that there are good standards in place so people do stay healthy. And we send to collection points in the United States, and then they ship off en masse to countries like Chad, Venezuela. We've sent to Ukraine and Lebanon.
And we get there, first kind of sitting there with their arms crossed, and then leaning forward, and then having little questions they wrote on a piece of paper and passed them up. And that they were so engaged and interested, and they're so happy to have them. They hug their kids. They were dancing with their kids. Their cheers were ringing off the roof.
So every country and every distribution is a little bit different. Just like in other countries, many women and girls in America also suffer from period poverty. Tampons are expensive, pads are expensive, and so many girls may want a washable solution, even at Rockford High School. And if any girl said to me, "Hey Christina, could I have a washable kit?" I would absolutely and very gladly provide a kit to those girls. The third thing that Days for Girls does is provide education. So every time one of our kits is delivered, those girls receive education about what's going on with their bodies, what menstruation is, sexual health. There's actually a men's component where they learn the same thing. So women and men are trained in these countries where often in their school curriculums, they're not getting this health education. It's another reason why I really like this program. There's education involved. It's not just, here's a product, don't forget to wash and dry it. There's so much more to it because in these countries, they don't get taught about menstruation. So this is our Days for Girls curriculum, and it's designed to be tabletop so that it can set on the table even when they're in a rural community with no AV equipment. This is the use and care guide that also comes with their kit. So they get a little pictorial just like this. And the reason there are no words is because we don't want any language involved. We don't want that to be a barrier to the girls knowing how to use their kit.
So the education invites people to be part of conversations, frankly, that are neglected and easily skipped and not wanting to be addressed, that actually open the door to other experiences and conversations as well.
And so we want to help provide that education so that every girl is prepared when their period starts to handle it. And it's one of the reasons why we call Days for Girls, is that it's literally giving them their days back. No longer do they have to sit at home and wait for it to pass. They can go to school, or if they're older, they can go to work. So it's all about the little thing of menstrual health provides these women and girls with all the things that they need to be successful. Our team has generated 1,400 kits since we started. And when you consider that we create 12 sewn components for every kit, you can do the math and realize that's a lot of components sewn by a lot of different volunteers.
The power of people coming together around an issue has shattered menstrual inequity for over 2.8 million women and girls in 145 countries on 6 continents.
When I learned that a girl may have to sit in her room and wait for her period to pass, and I could do something about it, I couldn't just sit back and do nothing anymore. So that's why I started the Days for Girls Rockford South team. I never imagined it was going to become as big as it has become, but through it all, it's been more and more volunteers and more support and more community interest. And this is why I really got started in this, was because I knew I could do something. I knew I could change a girl's life by the sewing machine that was up in my craft room, and I wanted to do something about it. Like I said, I didn't think it was going to get this big. It's pretty cool that it has.
We help people all over the world to take the lead in this conversation, to be the advocates for their own community, to be the leader of the change in their community.
You can go to daysforgirls.org. There's literally an international map with teams, like I said, across the globe that you can find one near you and get involved. We have a Facebook group. It's called Days for Girls Rockford South. And if you look us up, all of our events are posted on there. Since we started, over 2.8 million girls in the world have been served. That's insane. With many organizations such as Altrusa International of Grand Rapids, with many local churches supporting me, such as Cascade Christian and Park Church, this team has grown to be something way bigger than I thought it would be. And it's so exciting to know now how many girls we've been able to serve across the world. In 2021, 394,160 people were reached around the globe by Days for Girls. There are now 680 chapters and teams in 27 countries and 137 enterprises in 34 countries. And knowing that one of our kits is now in Guatemala, serving a girl there, it's serving girls in Chad and in Venezuela and all around the globe, makes me feel very, very proud. And I'm very thankful that we've been able to do as much as we have.
By talking about it, by normalizing it, we actually give people back their strength, their dignity, their days. And I'm so grateful that this is something we can change in our lifetime. And it's truly an honor to be part of this movement.